Welcome to the Unapologetically Unstoppable Women podcast, the show where ambition is celebrated, not silenced. Lori, Ann, and Angie are your hosts, and each week we dive into real, unfiltered conversations about women doing extraordinary things in their lives and in their businesses. Here we don't shrink to fit expectations or apologize for our success. We share stories that are inspiring, hilarious, and always authentic, because becoming unstoppable isn't about perfection, it's about persistence. So grab your coffee, get comfortable, and join our community of women who know that no is a complete sentence and there are no limits to what we can achieve together.
First time I saw her, I'm like, she's my gal. Unfortunately, I already was working with a sales coach and I couldn't afford two, so I had to wait until that contract expired. But it's like you say, it's not that you did a terrible job, because you would know if you did a terrible job, right? It just feels wrong. I know if I'm speaking somewhere, and I know if I did a terrible job or a good job. Whether or not the audience received is a different story. So two very different things, I believe.
Thank you for that. Good point.
Well, I think too, as we're learning and growing, it's in our jobs, it's in our personal lives. Like, it should trickle into everything that we're doing. So I've noticed as I get older, I've cut friends out. I'm like, they no longer served anything valuable. Like, if they took energy from me instead of giving energy to me, or just wanted, if the conversation was the same conversation every single time, I was like, you know what, there's so much more going on. We need to be able to elevate past this one conversation where you're complaining. So, in that authenticity, when I went from a corporate recruiter that I did for years and years, I was a people pleaser because I was worried about bad reviews or managers not liking me and getting in trouble. I think reviews at work are like one of the worst things we have to try and live up to, because it's somebody else's opinion of us. It's not necessarily true to who we are or what we're doing. But I used to fear that. And believe it or not, when I stepped out on my own, so no income, no steady paycheck, no, trying to figure out for myself, I went into it with the thought process, I want to run my business on day one the way I'm going to run it when I've been in business on, for 10 years, 15 years, 20 years. So that meant turning down clients. It meant really evaluating how I was going to be able to grow and help people the best. And I turned away business. So it's funny, when I had a paycheck coming in every 2 weeks, I was more likely to be a people pleaser. When I went out on my own and had no money whatsoever, I was like, I don't have to work with you. That's how that happened or how that worked out, but apparently it did. So, friends, clients, it's all the same. If you look at every situation through that lens of, am I being authentic to myself? Then you should see those instances where, like, I did grow. This isn't my audience anymore. It used to be, but now I'm a different person, and that's okay.
Yeah.
I love that. I love that. It's beautiful.
Yeah, such a great message. Yeah, for sure. And being okay with that, it's like just being okay with the fact that you've grown, that you've evolved, that your emotional intelligence has increased, your wisdom has deepened, and all the different things, and really looking at embracing that growth, instead of viewing it as, like, oh, I should have done better, I could have done better, whatever. And yeah, it's such a beautiful thing that I often think we don't give ourselves enough credit for, because you think about listening to a podcast, reading a book, working with a coach, all of the different things that we do to try to expand our knowledge, which when we expand our knowledge, we also increase the value that we can provide to anyone that we're serving, whether it's our communities, our families, our friends, our clients, whatever, we can just bring more to the table. We can have more enriching conversations and, all, like going back to what Ann was saying and celebrating that. Think about one of it's, I don't know, it's like a joke or a meme or something that says, what if you could go back to being 16 years old and knowing what you know today, would you make different decisions? And I'm like, yeah, but I wouldn't have had as much fun.
I was thinking the same thing. Maybe not. I wouldn't have had fun.
Like, I don't want to take those times back because I had a
Yeah,
blast.
I did too. It was a great age.
I would probably very legitimately do things very differently if I knew, because when I go back and think about the times I was having fun, so I wasn't doing maybe something that was more productive or could have had a different impact on where I am right now. There are things I would go back and do, but I would love to go back to high school as who I am now and look at all those mean girls and go, neener, 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 because that was one that I wouldn't take back.
Yeah. How do you like me now?
Exactly.
Oh, those mean girls. They still exist,
Oh my gosh, this
even
gotten
as
worse.
adults. They're like,
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
age doesn't do anything. Like, haters gonna hate. They just are.
yes.
Right.
And it
Right.
doesn't matter who or what the topic is. I'm like, that says nothing about me. That
Right.
entirely speaks to who you are as a person. So I'm going to remove myself from the
Exactly.
situation. But I do,
Exactly.
something you said, Angie, go back to um, could have done better, should have done. I do think we still have to look at those things and go, is there something I should have done or could have looked at? I don't want to shit on you, but is there something I could have looked at differently with a different perspective and reacted a different way? Or is it truly that
Yes.
person's fault? Because it's not very often that it's 100% the other person's fault, sometimes. So we still need to look at that. Yes, I'm going to be authentic, but I also want to be kind. I want to be respectful. I want to be all the things that we're supposed to be as, thriving human beings, and then still be true to myself. So if I hurt somebody's feelings, I am going to apologize because I
Mm-hmm.
don't want to hurt anybody, but I'm not going to apologize because I'm 5 minutes late for something that they didn't expect me to be there for anyway. Stuff like that. There's a time and a place.
Yeah, and it is funny how often, and I catch myself because my partner Dave, from the day we started dating, he's like, "Why are you saying I'm sorry all the time?" And it was
Mm.
first, I mean, it was a habit. And it's not, it's like, I know I didn't do anything wrong, but I still, say, it was crazy. And I started thinking more and more about it. I'm like, so I'm still suffering from that a little bit. I'm sorry, but I'm still suffering from that a little bit. But I'm more aware of it. And
Mm.
just having that awareness is helping me to realize sorry says I implies I did something wrong.
Mm.
And if I didn't do anything wrong, if things just didn't work out as expected,
Mm-hmm.
if I didn't do anything, then there's no need to say I'm sorry. But if I did do something wrong, if I do feel bad that I overreacted and whatever, then yes, I'm going to say I'm sorry. And it's interesting because just yesterday, I posted on Facebook about forgiveness.
Mm.
And because my VA, she's doing a great job, and she had put some stuff together, and there was one on forgiveness, and I didn't like the way it was worded, so I wanted to clarify. Forgiveness is for the forgiver, not the person who you believe did you wrong. Because the more when you forgive someone, you aren't saying it was okay what you did. You're just saying, look, it is what it is. I'm going to let go. It truly is. I'm going to let go of this because it's crap I don't need in my life anymore.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not, you're not necessarily doing that person. you're not doing that person, you're not doing anything. How do I even say this? It is for you.
It's
It's
not for their benefit, it's for your benefit.
right, right. So it's not going to necessarily change their life or make you guys friends anymore.
Right.
But it is for you to release that negativity and that bad energy. So you have
Mm-hmm.
more room for love and joy and peace and happiness and
Yes. And I'll give you a little trick that not a trick, but a strategy that I use whenever I find myself like almost wanting to say, like, because this happened to me a couple weeks ago. I lost power. I was supposed to record a session with someone, and I sent them a message, but they didn't get it. Went to their spam or something. But nonetheless, I found myself wanting to say, and she was pretty indignant about it, like very vocally indignant about it. And I found myself starting off saying, I apologize. I was like, mm-mm, no. And I'm like, so I started it off as, um, I appreciate you accepting this message with grace. My electric was out and I was unable to meet with you. I sent you a message. I have no control that it went to spam. It was something to that effect. But it's like, accept this with grace kind of a thing. Instead of saying I'm sorry, I had no control that the power, like,
right,
like Anne had a storm last night, her power went. You have no control over that.
right,
And so I couldn't serve her the best way that she deserved to be served with no power. And I have no control that the message went to spam. I have no control over that.
right.
And so I was like, did I feel bad? Absolutely. Because she was indignant. But I was like, please accept this with grace, because
I like that.
so anyhow,
like that too. That's such a different message. Please accept this with grace,
Yes,
because it puts the responsibility on the other person. I mean, you're
yes,
acknowledging, hey, I did this, it happened, I can't change it, but you're kind of putting some responsibility on them to
yes,
go think about, hey, if you were in the same situation, you would want grace too. So please accept this with
right.
grace. I like that better than apologizing.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Unapologetically Unstoppable Women podcast. If today's conversation fired you up, inspired you, or made you laugh out loud, don't forget to hit subscribe and share this episode with another unstoppable woman in your life. Remember, you don't have to apologize for your ambition, and you never have to shrink to fit someone else's expectations. Keep showing up, keep breaking barriers, and keep living life on your own terms. Until next time, stay unapologetic, stay unstoppable.